day of kindergarten. Now, for a lot of people, I guess now it is sort of this big sort of procession. Things happen on the last day of kindergarten so that it becomes the ending of some sort of era. With us, there wasn't. Actually, the teacher, Mrs. Bland, she got us all to do the whole, buddy system hand in hand, and we walked outside, and we walked across the street that we were never supposed to go across to a playground that was a playground of wonders. From a little kid, any different playground that you get to is just amazing. But this one had monkey bars. Forget about it, seriously. The monkey bars were amazing. It had a platform on the top, and I was sold. That's where I was most of the time, on the platform on the top, just like surveying everything below me. And then there's this girl named Shauna who came up, and we talked, and we were talking back and forth. And finally she said something to the effect of, well, okay, then we're gonna get married. Hey, let's go. Until Vanita, who was listening to our conversation at the bottom of the monkey bars, starts crawling up with an angry face saying, no, he's gonna marry me. Sort of a kindergarten Jerry Springer episode happening in front of me. But I sat back and in my wisdom, in my wise years as a, like 5 years old, something like that, I thought, well, why don't we marry each other? And we loved that. We seriously loved that. We laughed, we kissed, we hugged, we were gonna marry each other. Who cares if this was gonna be the last moments we actually saw each other? We were gonna be married. Yeah. The innocence of children. People take it up there and say, oh, these kids are wise beyond their years. Yes, see, anyone can marry anyone else. Well, we don't know what the hell we're talking about, really. I mean, if the three of us were married right now, one of us at least would have been dead. That's all I know. Some sort of buried in the backyard instance or something. But kids are supposed to be innocent, right? I went home and I told this to my mother and I said, I'm married, I figured this out, yada, yada, yada. And my mother was like, oh, aren't you so cute? Innocent. So innocent. I was such an innocent kid. And it is such a hard thing sometimes to look back on being such an innocent kid. Because if I was innocent right now, this would be oaf. That's how you would know me. I was innocent hoodie type guy. But I was also a little kid. I was a little kid, and when I grew up, was it freshman year of high school? I wore a size 3.5 shoe going into high school. As a little kid, I grew, to above 5 feet by the end of that freshman year. But there was this one kid who kept on bugging me, and he would just continually bug me. And finally, I actually turned to him and said, hey, just leave me the fuck alone. I don't want to deal with you. Just leave me alone. And then I started to be called a homophobe. So I went home. I went up to my mother. And I said, Mom, what's a homophobe? And she said, well, a homophobe is a person who doesn't like gay people or is afraid of them. And I said, oh, okay. Gay people. Oh yeah, homosexuals. Oh, okay, yeah. So I went to my room, thought about that, opened up a dictionary, looked up homosexual, and read the line. That's me! That's me right there! Freshman year of high school, I didn't even know what a homosexual was, even though I was it. Innocent. My junior year, I saw a professional production of Romeo and Juliet. And I was in a bookstore, and the guy who played Tybalt, the bad boy, was there. And he didn't even see me. He was probably like at the back of this theater. I said that far back. And he didn't even see me. But the first moment I saw him, what do you think I did? I ran and hid behind a bookcase. And I got behind the bookcase, and I finally came to myself, and I'm like, why did I just do that? What's going on? Am I going to be like this? Is this who I am? I'm just going to be the the sweet, nice guy who was like freaking out and oh my god, and doesn't know anything. Well, I came to hate it. I came to try to figure out how to change it. And this is how I got involved in avant-garde theater. So it was initially a friend of mine that got me into it. I saw their show beforehand, and the show was called Manson Family Values. I'll let you think about that. Avant-garde theater, go along with it. And then they're auditioning for a new show. And I'm like, well, what's the show? It's called The Balcony by Jean Genet. Trying to figure out if anybody in the audience knows that. No. Okay, a few people do, definitely. Balcony by Jean Genet. I'm like, it doesn't sound, okay, yeah, this just sounds like a play, do it. I auditioned, I got cast. I looked through the script and I started to be like, hey, a couple of characters. I could play a few characters. The first character, looking through the script, I get screwed by a bishop upside down. Well, no more innocence there, I guess. And it kind of went that way. I got the first rehearsal with that. Brian, who was the bishop, was terrified. And there was a lot of back and forth with us being like, no, I trust you, no, please, no, and so there was the first scene. And then there was this talk about costumes, and about 3/4 of the way through the show, the rehearsal process, the costumer finally came up to me. She's like, we just think that we're just not going to have a costume for you. Oh. So I'm going to be naked for the whole show. And she said, yeah. And I'm like, well, you do understand, because this is the truth, that this show is supposed to be interactive. And if I'm naked, would you just give me something? So they used some like sheer drapery fabric and made a little thong that I wore. That was fun. Okay, now that was just like Act 1 right there. Now we got Act 2 going on after that. Act 2, the biggest pinnacle of my character was I come out in leather pants, awesome leather pants. Bought them in a sex shop with my mother. That was awesome. Leather pants, and there was the strong type, and yada yada yada. And well, at that point, I cut off my penis, held it up high, and ran around in the audience with it until I collapsed due to blood loss or something. They dragged me away. So this is really out of my comfort zone. This is really out of Mr. Innocent Pants, the person that I was. And the thing that I found about it too was that I gained a following. I gained a following, especially with the bear community, because, you know. And so, you know, it was incredible just to be somebody and could see myself being somebody else and whatever, and being empty of all of that innocence and the fun stuff. And it culminated in October 31st, 2003, which was our last performance. And at the end of that, this guy who came to see me 5 or 6 times, I went home with him that night. And I had sex. For the first time. 26 years old. First time I had sex. And it's all because of avant-garde theater.